everyone, so in my last post I talked about getting started with the ADAPT framework, a free responsive e-learning framework. And I got a lot of feedback that people would love to know how to get started and install the authoring tool. So the authoring tool is a lot easier to use, and if you go to adaptlearning.org and you check out their downloads button here, you can see the first download is for the ADAPT authoring tool. So today I'm going to be installing the ADAPT authoring tool, which I have not installed on this computer before. So if you go to their site, you can get more information about this. So when you click on their install the authoring tool button, it will launch their GitHub instructions for installing the authoring tool. And there's a few things that you have to do with this, and one of the most important things that I've found is that you want to make sure the folders or area that you're saving all of these items to, it's accessible. So if something doesn't have permission to that folder, then you won't be able to run this correctly. So I'll go ahead and get started and show you guys how to do that. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to install Vagrant, and you want to make sure that you follow these instructions for this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and install Vagrant. So when I go to the Vagrant Up site, I want to select Windows because I have a Windows computer. Select whichever works for you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and save the file. So now I'm running through the Vagrant setup. So I'm just going to click Next and Accept, and then let this install, and this should take a little bit to install. I've finished installing Vagrant, and the next step is to install VirtualBox. And then I can restart my computer later, and now I will be installing VirtualBox. And what I want to do is check out which one I want to install. I'm going to go ahead, because I have a Windows computer, install the Windows version for VirtualBox. I'm going to go ahead and install VirtualBox. All of these executable files for setting up I've been saving to my downloads folder. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. And I'm not going to create a shortcut on my desktop or my quick launch, but I'll register file associations. And this is fine. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. This may take several minutes like it says here. And then close to the end of the installation, you'll see this window. And we want to be sure to uncheck Start Oracle VM VirtualBox after installation, because on the directions it says that Vagrant will start it at the appropriate time. So it's just important to make sure that you follow everything in the instructions. You may not follow each and everything, and then issues can arise later down the line. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that. Another important thing before continuing on is that we want to make sure that Vagrant is appearing in the path. So what we'll do is we need to use the command line for this. So in your search bar, I'm on Windows 10, so I'll start typing in command, and you'll see the command prompt comes up. But what I'll need to do is I want to run this as administrator, so I'll hold down Control-Shift-Enter, and then this will allow me to run this as administrator. So what I want to do is, as it says in here, in the command prompt window, I want to type path and make sure that there's a path that has Vagrant running in it. So if we go ahead and look here, we should see Vagrant. So you can see it's right here. So that means hopefully that it was installed successfully. So since we have that already, the next piece that we want to do is we want to install the authoring tool. Now I know that this says you can go to GitHub and get this file, or you can clone it, but we're not going to do that. I think it's just easier if you go to the ADAPT site and you go to Downloads and you direct download it from here. I found that to be a super easy way, and you just want to make sure that under downloads you're in the authoring tool and not the framework. So I'm going to go ahead and do a direct zip download of that, and I'm going to save it, and then we'll do the next steps for that. Alright, so I downloaded the zip and I placed the adapt authoring master file in my C drive. I just know that that's somewhere where my permissions will be able to access it. It may not be the best spot for it, but you can always adjust this later on down the line. Alright, so our next step is to launch the terminal window, and then we want to change our directory. That's what CD means, change directory, into the adapt authoring directory. So once you go into your window, you should have this open still, and if not, remember, just go to search for it and then Shift Control Enter, and you should be able to bring that up. But what we want to do is we want to change our directory into that authoring directory. And what we'll do for this is we'll type cd ... and that will bring us up into the directory above the system32, and we'll do that again, and now we're in our C. So as you can see in our folder here, you'll see that this one is right in C, so we should be able to access it. So now when we say CD and we name that folder adapt authoring master, we should be in that folder now. So what we want to do is we want to run our Vagrant up command. So what we'll do in the window now is in this folder we will do Vagrant up, and this should get our server up and running. So as you can see, it's pulsing and it's going through the installation. And so what this should do is install everything successfully, hopefully successfully for us. So you can see this might take a little bit of time, so I'll pause the recording and come back and we'll hopefully have this ready to launch. Alright, so this command took about 20 minutes to run. You'll see that I can now go ahead and go to this local host 5000 here, and this should log me in. And what you'll want to log in with is the username admin and the password. So we'll go ahead and do that. And now you're in the authoring tool.